You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, welcome to our show today. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, and we have got a lot to talk about. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. And Mike is in our control room, ready to twiddle the dials, put you on the air, answer the phone calls, put you on the air with your comments, questions, and opinions. And sorry, I'm multitasking here. And, well, let's start right off with some news here. Nancy Pelosi is out there saying that the China travel ban has not been effective. And it sounds like just another way for her to say that her plan of open borders and no restrictions on visas and green cards would have been the better answer. Of course, she's always pushing for the open border. She's one of the open border advocates. But, you know, as I mentioned yesterday, there's this little game Nancy plays, like the Monty Python argument clinic. No matter what Donald Trump says, Nancy Pelosi will say the opposite. And apparently there was a bit of a big stink where Nancy Pelosi had complained that Trump had allowed Americans that were in China when the pandemic first broke out to fly back to the United States. And oh my goodness, that's why we got it. We got it. But then on the other hand, if Trump had ordered those Americans to stay in China, Pelosi would have made a big stink about that. Oh, he's abandoning American citizens to those heartless, cruel Chinese communists. By the way, have you noticed that all the China bashing that we're seeing, they're trying to revive our fear of communists? Now, if you're my age and you went through public school, you know, you were told the reasons you were supposed to hate and fear the communists. But for the younger generation, I don't think it's going to be that effective, because they didn't have all that indoctrination, because the Soviet Union fell apart and the propaganda said, well, we don't need to say bad things about them anymore. And if you look at the breakdown in demographics of liberalism, you know, there's a lot of people who are thinking socialism might not be so bad compared to the fascism that this country normally runs under. Meanwhile, Mexico has deported nearly all of its illegal immigrants amid coronavirus fears. That is a good solution. Why are we not doing the exact same thing? Yet another brouhaha has been started by the fact that New York State has canceled its presidential primary over the coronavirus, saying there's no question Trump is going to be the GOP nominee and Joe Biden is going to be the Democrat, period, end of discussion. Now, the reason people got upset is because they're keeping the state and legislative elections on June 23rd. So it's not like people are going to stay home who otherwise would have gone on out. And of course, the Bernie Sanders people are very upset because they were hoping to pick up more delegates, not because Bernie Sanders is changing his mind about endorsing Joe Biden, but he wants to go into the convention with enough delegates to have a significant influence on the platform. So anyway, over in Michigan, we're still following the antics of Gretchen Whitmer. And her latest screed now is that her constituents aren't paying attention. The reason they're opposed to her lockdown measure, the reason they're protesting, is they don't really understand the threat. This is called the "they are all idiots" defense. I have a feeling she's not going to survive her next election, going about this all the wrong way. The Facebook event page for an upcoming protest against Michigan's state of emergency was deleted by Facebook staff for defying the government's guidance on social distancing. So there you have it, people. Facebook is the enforcer of the government's will. We're really into 1984 with this kind of stuff. All right, let's take some phone calls here, starting with Brian in Pennsylvania. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. You're on the air.
All right. I just want to say yesterday's show got dark real fast. Like I'm amazed how much everybody was kind of bickering with each other. Like that's what this country doesn't need, is everybody to just start randomly fighting with each other. Like, there's a saying that a very old saying from Voltaire. I might not agree with what you say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. And I think more people need to take that to heart and stop yelling at each other over this kind of nonsense.
Well, as one of our other callers pointed out, there are paid shills who call into shows like mine to try and put certain ideas out there or to discredit certain other ideas. And this is campaign season. We're heading into the elections. And I'm already seeing a flood of stuff that's bashing Trump or bashing Biden. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the program. And we do have a platform here. We're not the corporate media. In fact, that's the attraction of us. We're the independent media. And the general public that knows about us trusts us more than they trust ABC, NBC, CBS, and so forth.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. I listen to your show as often as I can live, which unfortunately isn't as often as I'd like, because I called in before. I own a lawn care business, so I don't get off work until like it's dark pretty much. And I'm happy that we had such a mild winter in Pennsylvania. My season started at the beginning of April, earliest it's ever started. I'm so happy for that, because I lost my part-time job, which usually sustains me over winter. I lost that like 2 months ago. So I've had like no income, and I only made, I think, like $95 doing snow removal for like all winter, which is really pathetic. Usually it's about like $500-600. This is like the worst winter I've ever had. So I listen to your show as often as I can. And one thing I wanted to say is that, did you see how I think it was ABC. They had like a local show or a local news thing from California that got censored when they had an interview with two doctors?
Yes.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that YouTube would just wipe that out, like right off of a news website, or not like a news website, but a news channel's YouTube channel, which is like insane that YouTube would just censor that right out of the gate, when all it was doing was, if you would have watched the interview, the reporters were like insanely hard on those doctors. Like they were really throwing hardballs at them. It wasn't like whenever you interview Biden and they lob these like little softballs at him and everything. They were really drilling into these guys, and they still just wiped it right out. Like it's just digitally wipes out everybody's memory. Like, what is it? The Ministry of Truth. That's it, from 1984.
Yeah, the memory hole.
Yeah, down the memory hole. That's it. I knew I was forgetting something, but you have a great show, Mike. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Bye. Thanks an awful lot for the call. We're going to switch over to Jim in Illinois. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. First of all, I am not a shield. I've been listening to your program for over 5 years, and I enjoy it. We might not agree with everything when it comes to politics or other things, but I do enjoy listening to you.
Well, thank you.
The other thing, when you were in high school, did you read the book The Jungle by Sinclair Lewis?
No, I remember seeing it in the library, but I never got around to reading it.
It was about the slaughterhouse and the conditions back in the early 1900s. And the reason I'm bringing it up, it seems like history is repeating itself, considering the workers at the slaughterhouses or meat producers, they're being mistreated. And it seems like no one really cares, especially, people in Washington, D.C. They're more concerned about getting the food processed and not the conditions of the workers.
Well, I know the workers are saying that presidential order or not, they have no intention of returning until conditions are improved.
Right. And even though, they might lose their job or they might be threatened. And this is something I did not know, that if someone did get ill on the job, you cannot sue the plant. Have you heard that?
I don't know about, you mean sick with coronavirus? I hadn't heard that, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of companies are making their workers sign a waiver. If you get ill from the virus, you're not allowed to sue us. I'll tell you one thing, these lawyers are going to have a field day pretty soon.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, that's it. You take care.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Yesterday you had a guy, I think his name was Paul or something.
Yes, Paul from New Jersey.
He was talking badly about blue states. so-called blue states. Well, listen, Paul, let me tell you something.
He was
I lived in
talking
the
badly about
wonderful
the red states.
I mean, the red states, yes. Let me tell you something, Paul. I lived in your precious New York. Well, New Jersey and New York, about the same thing, okay? I hated it, okay? It drove me out. You know why? The cost of living is so high in that place because of the greed that you can't even afford a house. You can't even afford an apartment. If you do have a house, you got to pay. Your mortgage takes up most of your salary. I had to commute 70, 80, 90 miles to get to work and then back. You spend like 2 to 4 hours. You spend like 4 hours commuting, okay? Because who wants to live in that dump, all right, called New York City? Okay? You have no idea what you're talking about, Paul, all right? I would take any of these red states over a blue state anytime, okay? I have a nice house, okay? It's a manufactured home. I wouldn't even be able to have a manufactured home in most of New York, okay? They don't even allow it. The zoning requirements by these greedy pig rich people wouldn't even allow it. My own land, half an acre, right in the middle of the woods, right in the mountains. I couldn't get that in New York anymore. Maybe way upstate New York. Nowhere close to New York City, though. Okay? There's nothing good about the red, so-called blue states, especially New York and New Jersey. These are dumps, Paul. Okay? You understand it? These are dumps. All right? I don't miss them. I don't even go back there anymore. It's just once my kids were grown and they were living upstate with their mother at the time, and I went back quite a bit to see them from Texas. At the time I was living in Texas, another great state. Since then, I don't even go back to that dump anymore. Okay, I have no use for it. Just to get into that dump, you got to pay like a toll of like something like, I don't know, $20 or $30 just to go over some of these bridges. Okay, who can do that? Third world, New York City and most of New Jersey is a third world place where it's for the rich and the poor and no in between. The only people who can live there anymore. You can't get a gun. Your Second Amendments are totally denied. The police force is way too large. You got to like equivalent of 2 or 3 divisions of police. That's because everybody's so scared because they can't defend themselves because they don't have firearms. Okay? So let's get that straight. Here we got freedom, Paul. Okay? Here in the blue states like North Carolina, where Mike is living in Indiana, South Carolina, in Texas, in other western states such as Dakotas, you got real freedom there. Okay? You don't have that in the places like New York and New Jersey or Massachusetts. They're dumped. They're dumped because you people are too stupid to get rid of the politicians that have screwed you over all these years. That's why. Right now, that's why you're locked down the way you are now, okay? Because you got no guts. You don't want to go out and demand your rights. You have no idea what the Constitution of this great country is. It's because of the blue states that this country is in the situation it's in right now, all right? And that's all I got to say, Mike, really. I just had to, I wanted to call yesterday, but I already called, okay? So.
Well, don't sugarcoat it like that. Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, by the way, I made a great new video, by the way, on my YouTube channel. Okay, Mike, in case anyone want to watch it. All right? I see a couple of people already seen it. All right? So, great new video. Even did a little imitation of Bill Gates.
All right. I'll have to tune in and look at that one. Okay, well,
Mike,
thank you for the phone call, and we're going to let you go here. The phone lines are now open. 800-313-9443. Now, as one of our callers just mentioned, YouTube censored a viral video of these 2 doctors, Dr. Dan Erickson and Dr. Arden Masihi, and they're co-owners of Accelerated Urgent Care in Bakersfield, California. And they came on out talking about the numbers and saying, does this really necessitate sheltering in place? Does it necessitate shutting down medical systems? Does it necessitate people being out of work? And they made a valid point because, 2019 was the worst flu season in something like 4 decades, and we didn't shut the country down for that. But yes, the reporters who were there at the press conference just drove into them because the order has gone out. Sell coronavirus as this huge threat. Keep the people afraid. And YouTube yanked the video, and we're already seeing a whole bunch of stories coming on out saying, oh, well, their math was in error. They made all kinds of huge mistakes in their calculations. Now that they can't defend themselves, now that people can't go back and look at the original video and see what it was they actually said, it's all being made up after the fact. They said that, coronavirus was going to kill, 18 trillion people. They can say anything they want. And these two doctors, as long as YouTube continues to deep six their videos, they can't defend themselves. That's about as un-American as it gets around here. When you can come on out with something that's factual, it can be erased. You can be attacked after the fact and have anything said about you, any smear whatsoever, and you're not allowed to respond. Classic smear job here. All right, Trump is saying COVID reparations are coming and that the United States is going to bill China for at least $160 billion. Good luck with that. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, they can send a bill. Anybody can send a bill. Whether it'll be paid or not, we don't know. I know that some of the people who were talking about suing China for damages were talking about something like $3 trillion, which just coincidentally happens to be about how much debt China holds over the United States here. Now, there's an article that came on out of Zero Hedge about pandemic passports and the danger of immunodiscrimination. And this is following on with Bill Gates' call for a digital tattoo that will have your vaccine record right there in your, I guess, in your arm, just a little number. And they'll look at that number and say, oh, they've had this vaccine or that vaccine. And if you look at what's going on in our schools, where students are not allowed to attend the schools unless they've had all the CDC mandated vaccines. And remember, the CDC is a private company that owns vaccine patents. They're not part of the United States government. We're looking at a possibility of immunodiscrimination, where unless you've gone over to the godfathers of medicine and given them some of your money, so that they'll mark your little tattoo, little protection sticker on your arm, They paid the protection, leave them alone. That you could be kept out of things like stores, government services. It's a real possibility. Because anytime you start labeling people, they can be discriminated against. Now, we all understand that discrimination based on color or gender or orientation is wrong. So why are discrimination against, like fat people considered acceptable? And now there's possibility of immunodiscrimination. And by the way, speaking of stores, there's a story out there that apparently a lot of these large chain department stores are going to put in thermal scanners at their doors. And if you're running a fever when you try and go in the store, you will be stopped. What if you just got finished at the gym and you're flushed? You'd be a little hot, but you're not sick. You're just worked up. Now, here's a story that's going to cause the hairs on the back of your neck to stand up. It's from Russia Today. Is Bill Gates using his philanthropy for the good of the universe or as a power grab exercise with one eye on the White House? Entirely plausible. He's seen one billionaire get into the White House. You might think, and I don't know about you, but I don't want the guy who gave us Windows Vista and Millennium Edition sitting at that resolute desk in the Oval Office. He certainly is getting a lot of media attention these days. Of course, he's getting long in the tooth as well. If he's going to run, it's going to have to be in 2024. All righty. People are saying it's time to open up the economy. Locking down provides no statistical benefit. Looking at all the nations all across Europe, those that lock down are doing no better than those that didn't lock down. We're going to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And welcome back to our show here. And a reminder that Republic Broadcasting is holding a fundraiser. And the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. Okay, our phone lines are full, so let's go clear some phone calls, starting with Francis in North Carolina. Hello, Francis. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What is not on my mind, Michael? Good to hear from you. Initially I was going to talk about what was discussed yesterday, but when I heard you mentioned about the prospect of Billy Gates or whatever going for running for office because of the money factor and so forth, that is a nauseating thought to start with. But then again, hey, that's probably what he's been shooting for, and that's coming out of the shadows, as it were, like Cheney did at one time. Considering that he was basically behind, along with who knows who, as far as bioengineering is concerned, regarding the various viral bugs that they warned people like 5 or 7 years earlier about, and then come to find out Interesting timing. But aside from that, the thing that really kind of bugs me at the moment, and I'm pun intended, when people start talking about, well, this state should be grateful for this, and this this state should be grateful for that, or whatever, and so on ad nauseum, spewing out negativity about this, about that, whatever have you. For one thing, if there's any due respect, by all means, let it flow. However, we are supposed to be grown adults, having an adult mind, adult brain. There's enough negativity in the world as is without people going and spewing it on the airways, for crying out loud. We're supposed to be caring about each other, not shooting down their throat with a bunch of negative garbage. I mean, yes, I have lived in the South. I've lived in the North. They all have their pros and cons. I'll give you that.
Yes.
But, I mean, come on. Use your common sense. I don't care if someone's living in their basement. I don't care if someone's living in a story.
Okay, Francis, you're cutting out there. Are you still there?
As far as their heart goes. What?
I said you cut out there for a second.
I may have went into a dead zone there for a moment. I apologize.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. So you're back now. If you could repeat that, going back to if they live in the basement or if they live in whatever it was you said after that.
Well, the aspect that it doesn't matter if you're living in someone's basement or a 5-story mansion. It's a matter of what the intention of your heart is and what you look to do with your energy and your money or whatever have you, and so forth, to help not only yourself but also those around you. There's enough negativity going on in the world to go around. It's ridiculous. And the whole example about what people are doing now with the social engineering of distance and wearing masks and so forth and nauseam, it's like, okay, people, come on, give me a break here. Step out of it. So that's pretty much all of it in a nutshell, Michael, because it's just, when I hear people talk like that, it's like, okay, we're supposed to be an adult with an adult brain or adult mentality. It doesn't sound like it to me. So people can take it with a grain of salt, what I just shared with you. So anyway, have a great week.
All right. Thanks an awful lot, Francis. We're going to switch over to Al in Canada. Hello, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Was that Jim from Illinois that called just recently talking about the blue states?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? He's right. I used to go down to, I used to travel through New York all the time a few years back to do service work, and I'd do the I-90 through Syracuse to Albany, and then I'd go down the 87. Mike, I'd never seen so many cops in all my life. It was brutal, just brutal. Yes. They were everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And, you know, the thing is, what used to bother me is in Canada, when you're merging onto a highway, you know, you don't slow down going onto the highway. You speed up.
Yeah.
And I got ticketed a few times in there in New York. Subsequently, you know, I'm not allowed in New York anymore unless I give me $800 or something like that, which of course is extortion. So I would never consider doing it. So, you know, I was in New York, New Jersey. I don't know. I don't know if Connecticut is a blue state or not, but I've never seen so many cops in all my life when I used to go down there. Number one. And then also that video that you were talking about with those two doctors, Tucker Carlson picked that up right on Fox News.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think I got that off of your website, didn't I? Did I?
Yes.
Tucker Carlson talking about those guys. Yeah. So.
All right, Al, I'm going to have to put you on hold. I'm going to have to put you on hold.
Okay,
don't hang up. I'm going to bring you back after these words from the phone.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356, or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Al in Canada. And Al, if you could just sort of pick up where you left off.
Yeah, I was chiming in about the police state that New York is and New Jersey and like that whole area. I remember when I drive down there, I mean, I'd see every 5 minutes there'd be a cop somewhere, and they'd be in those big SUVs waiting to pull people over, and it was just brutal. And I'd come back and go to the Canada side, and I wouldn't see one. I wouldn't see a cop for like 45 minutes, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm from Canada, like your country, the United States, is supposed to be free. Well, it didn't seem like it was to me. But and then I was talking about the Tucker Carlson interview, or I should say him being on Fox, and he showed a clip of those 2 guys from California that I guess YouTube is memory hold. I didn't know they did that until just recently when I was listening to your show here.
Well, the video's already been mirrored. It's typical. The video's already been mirrored, and a member just posted the links to the mirrored versions for people who want to see what was actually said rather than listen to the corporate media try and tell you that something else was said.
Yeah, I mean, this is all pure nonsense, right? But am I correct when I say that I think this year only 24,000 people in the United States have died from complications due to influenza, which is like a third of what it was last year.
Yeah, the seasonal flu has been a lot lower this year, and speculation is that many of those deaths are being put in, the COVID-19 category to try and get those numbers up there to match the initial projections. Somebody gets run over by a steamroller, oh, it's COVID-19 death. Somebody gets eaten by a shark, oh, it's COVID-19 death.
Yeah, I was on some website and they were going over some of these stats, heart attacks, diabetes, stroke, and all that. And it's all the same thing. All these numbers have come right down. It's like, we've been saved. Like, this is great. I'm going to go out and have myself a nice greasy steak or something like that. But, I remember like a week and a half ago or something, I was talking about wearing these N95 masks. I'm still not wearing one.
Yes.
I see a lot of people still wearing the masks. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with you? You don't see this for what it is. I mean, I go to the supermarkets now, Mike. They have these little arrows, you're only supposed to go down one way down the aisle. No one's following it anymore. They're just tired of this crap. They're just sick and tired of it. And what they're doing, and this is my opinion only, is they're making us all like serious debt slaves. Like, how do you pay for all this debt? And so you're in a bankrupt country, and then what? What the UN steps in with their one world government, one world central bank, one world currency.
You have foreign investors come in and buy up what used to be public property. They'll privatize all the highways, all the harbors, all the airports, and future generations of Americans will pay to rent what was once the property of their parents.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's already happened up here in Canada, right? We leased out the 407 that taxpayers paid to build. And it was, the best highway that we ever paid for because it's all done in concrete and whatnot. And, we've leased it to some German company for crying out loud. I mean, what a scam. That was the old liberal government that did that, right? In the province I live in. Once again, a liberal government. Their idea of fixing things is to jack up the minimum wage so that inflation just goes skyrocketing and prices go up. That'll fix it. It doesn't fix anything at all, and it never will. I don't care how much cash you throw at anything. I don't care how much printing that any government anywhere all over the world will do. It will never, ever fix the problem. The problem lies exactly where you and I both know.
It gets sucked up to the top immediately, by the billionaires, the money junkies.
Yep, because they're the ones that own the banks. That's pretty much it. I mean, it all gets siphoned up through that black hole. That is all this interest that we have to pay that no one even sees, no one even thinks about. Almost half of everything that we pay for is going to pay interest to somebody, and it's usually these rich people. I mean, this has got to end because Mike, I'd rather live dangerous freedom than, I think that's a quote, than peaceful slavery. I appreciate your time. You have a good one.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Glenn in Kansas. Hello, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Yeah, yesterday got pretty insulting. The guy that said he worked his butt off for money his whole life, and then he was successful because he worked hard. But that's all he did with his life. I guess maybe I myself, after being a 28-year veteran firefighter and EMTI, and then on top of it, I got 3 honorable discharges, 1 from the Army and 2 from the Kansas Guard. I guess in his book, I'm a loser. And I just don't see, we make our choices in life.
Yes, we do.
And I chose to stand on the wall and guard these people while they're sleeping so no one would harm them. And I suffered injury, and it's really an insult to me when just because of life choices, you choose what you want to do. And you chose what you wanted to do. And not just because you didn't go out there and try to make a bunch of money doesn't make you a loser. But and that was kind of what I call oil of vitriol, to be insulting like that.
Yes.
That's an alchemy term of sulfuric acid.
Yes.
And this red blue state thing is divisive. I think it was installed mainly to just divide the country more than it really is. It's the left-right phony paradigm. Who says that if one state happens to be a red state? Here in Kansas, I guess if you're going to go to that divisionary red-blue, well, we're red, and we provide at least 1/4 of all the wheat for all the wheat bread in the United States. Well, if you don't like it coming from a red state, well, don't eat any bread, I guess, or you don't eat any beef. Don't stay in your own state and don't have any trade and commerce with any of their states. But as far as I'm concerned, originally I'm from Minnesota, and I feel really bad for a lot of people in Minnesota because the liberals are dominating everything, and the taxes are going sky high. And then there's also talk of people that want to escape Minnesota and leave, like they have gone out of Illinois, or they've escaped from California to have an exit tax. They tax you because you're leaving.
Yes.
And I really feel bad for people that say again.
They were talking about that in Hawaii too, and they were talking about one at the national level. That if you wanted to leave the United States, that you would have to surrender something like 1/3 of your wealth if you hadn't smuggled it out already.
Well, and a lot of people have already taken their money out of this country. And there was a lot of people that invested in Russia simply because they were getting tired of investing in companies in the United States where if somebody in middle management mistakenly used a pronoun or something, they'd be a lawsuit. Frivolous lawsuits. Well, you get tired. Well, to the point where, you want to invest in this country is too risky. But we are in a mess right now, and I was completely amazed on how quickly this country was taken down.
Yes,
we are really in a bad way. And it goes back when I was in the Army. I was stationed in Panama back in the 70s. And I took a correspondence course, and it was the title of the course was Psychological Operations, Techniques, and Procedures. And all of the stuff that's been going on in this country that I've noticed, if even going back to the Kennedy assassination, how we got in Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin, all this stuff that they tried to pull with the U.S. Liberty, and then in recent times, Oklahoma, and then the World Trade Center, and all of this stuff we're primed for it. We've already been conditioned to react to Hegelian dialectics. So I'm really amazed that this country hasn't collapsed already. Just amazed. And
I think it's in the middle of a collapse.
Oh, well, it's stair-stepping down, and
Yes.
I don't know when we're going to hit bottom, but I'm really fearful. I'm too old to be engaged in, a lot of stuff. I'm in my mid-60s, and yeah, I went through having pneumonia back in December. My son thinks that that was actually this coronavirus that got me my pneumonia. And because it had the telltale sign of, your blood pressure was dropping. Your blood pressure drops way off. And I started looking for a comfortable place on the floor. And, but it takes a long time to recover from this stuff, but other people, it doesn't even bother them. So I think we need to just put on our men's underwear and face up to this stuff and and go through the process, because this is the human condition, that we have to fight this off with the immune system, and your medical establishment is not going to help us at all. So I thought I'd just leave you with that, Mike, and you have a good day. And for all that guy in New Jersey, well, just stay home. We don't need you. But I know some nice people in New Jersey, and okay, you got to pick and choose sometimes.
Well, you
But,
do that anywhere that you are. I mean, I really love the people around here in Indiana. We're obviously a red state. Hardly ever see any police. In fact, we can go days without seeing a police officer here. But I'm originally a New Englander. I was born in Boston. I spent my childhood mostly in New Hampshire, and I still like it back there. But I've been to New York many times, and I do not like it. I used to live in Southern California. The last time I went back there, you could just see the deterioration. Same thing with San Francisco. And so I guess at my age, being in a rural environment is a lot more comfortable. Anyway, thank you very much for the phone call.
Yeah.
We're going to switch over to Joe in Houston. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was talking about what he notices in New York coming from Canada. And one thing you'll notice in all the blue states, and that's toll booths.
Yes.
I mean, I can go from Tennessee to Houston and go across the Mississippi River, no toll booth. Go down to Florida. The only toll booth in Florida is the Beeline from Orlando to, what's that beach down there? Cocoa Beach or something. But
Yes.
other than that, you go all over, it's like anywhere you go up north. And when I talk about blue states, I'm talking not about the geography, not about the history. I'm talking about the liberal politics. That's what people don't seem to. I don't want to compare the gross product of New York with Tennessee. It's ridiculous. I'm just talking about how liberalism and these lefties are just the difference in life that they've created up there, and how those states are going to be most affected because of their liberal governors with this lockdown. I mean, Tennessee's opening up for business. So's Texas. New Jersey and New York will be probably closed till the election because they're going to use it for political advantage, and they're going to try to get a federal bailout for the state. That's what the Democrats' plan is. But so anyway, I just wanted to say that one thing that I really like. I said, you can tell you're in a liberal state when you every time you cross water, you're going to pay a toll. Or in New Jersey, you got the Jersey Turnpike, and you got the Jersey Thruway, and you got all the bridges. I mean, there are all kinds of Delaware, same thing. Maryland, same thing. You get into Virginia, hey, there's no more. I'm not paying for going over water. You take that outer bridge in Norfolk, you don't pay a toll. And that's a long bridge. You go to Louisiana, Lake Pontchartrain, long bridge, no toll. UEP Long Bridge, no toll. So, it just shows. And who do tolls really hurt the most? The working man, the middle class, the trucker. So it just shows who they like to punish in those big cities. And then who gets the money from the bonds that went to build those bridges? They're still paying these rich families through your toll booths to this day. They bought the bonds 40 years ago, 50 years. So that's what you get in a liberal state. But I really had to call in today. I wasn't planning on it, but that guy insulting you, really, that was a disgusting thing. Does he know your history, Mike? Does he know how you stood up for a man that you didn't even know who was murdered by the Clintons? Does he know that they pressured and punished you so you lost your job? Does he know the amount of damage that they did to you? And has he ever stood up for anything in his life? Has that guy who called in and insulted the size of your house or whatever ridiculous thing, does he know what an honorable man you are? How you stood up for justice for a man you didn't even know? I know. I stood up with others with the 9/11 thing, and I lost my security clearance. I lost jobs. I got spit on. I got my leg broken. And this guy has no idea. You are one of the best people that I know. You put your ass on the line, and you paid a price for it. And I hope you get rewarded somehow, some way. And
Well,
when
I
you
already
cross
am.
over to the next life, I know, but I mean, you should be. Yeah. Well, you are. Yeah, you are.
Yes.
You're right. But,
I have people
when you
like you
cross
calling
over,
in
I
my
hope.
show, and I consider
Yeah.
myself a
Well, thank
success
you.
because of that.
Well, I always told people, I said, well, when I die, I hope that some of the people that I standing up for at 9/11 and them can come and say hello and say thanks for standing up for me. And I hope Vince Foster's are going to meet you, because he should. Because how many people ever did stand up for Vince Foster? You know?
There were a
It's
few.
amazing.
There were a few. DC Dave comes to mind. Hugh Sprunt comes to mind. A couple others whose names are probably best left unsaid. There were even some people within the investigation tried to do the right thing. They lost their jobs for it. And it was this huge, big, stinky cover-up. And it's not like that I just sat there and made the decision that I was going to sacrifice my career in Hollywood for Vince Foster. I thought I would just point out the fact that it had to have been a murder, and that would be the end of it. And of course, I was completely wrong on that. All right, well, listen, Joe, got to let you go. We're going to take a break for commercials. We're going to take another phone call as soon as we come back.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new EaseOff Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my EaseOff?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry, because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows, too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold. Arms and or legs often go to sleep. Sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe. Short walks cause cramping or pains in legs. Memory is not as good as it used to be. Ankles swell late in the day. Chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, I mean the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to John on Vancouver Island. John, welcome to the show. What's on your mind? John, are you there?
This is Glenn.
This is Glenn
From
from
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
hi.
I guess we must have lost John. So, Glenn, what's on your mind today?
Well, Mike, it's about Joe Biden. I mean, the man is obviously having dementia problems,
Yes.
and I understand that bureaucratic entities can have a lot of inertia or be bullheaded, but I can't believe that anyone in the Democratic Party, operations really thinks that he's viable as a candidate. And I kind of have to stick with Jeff Rentz's idea that he's a placeholder, that they're going to back him out. Now, I don't agree with Rentz that they're going to go pull Hillary out of mothballs here at the last moment. But I can easily see some kind of hoopla where they're going to have to, with the greatest sorrow that, that they have to, that Biden's going to drop out, and we really lament this, and it's such a shame, and we thank him for his many decades of service to the American people. But instead, we're going to run so-and-so. So I think that's what's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a Michelle Obama Buttigieg, Pete Buttigieg ticket or something like that. I still think Buttigieg is the heir apparent to the VP slot for the Dems.
I disagree, and I disagree with Rentz. I think they're getting ready to pull Hillary out in a brokered convention. Yeah. I mean, what the Democrats did this year is they went after Trump, obviously, and they started getting rid of everybody they didn't want to have as a nominee, like Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. And when they got all, to the bottom of the barrel, as it were, all they had left was Joe Biden, who is clearly deteriorating. And I feel bad for the guy, and I wish him well, but he's certainly not capable of doing the job of president. Now, maybe they're just going to prop him up in that chair in front of the Resolute desk and let him drool on the blotter there while the real decisions are made by people behind him. But I do think that the game plan here, at least from the Clintons' point of view, and there does seem to be a little battle going on between the Obamas and the Clintons over who's going to get that vice presidential slot. And I don't think Michelle Obama is qualified to VP, but I'll take her over Hillary any day. So I do think that at some point, and look how much attention Hillary is trying to get for herself right now. And to me, it's pretty obvious.
Well, you think that she is going to run?
I think that she's trying to get that VP slot, knowing that Joe Biden is probably not going to. He's probably not going to make it through the first 4 years.
Right, because they can. What amendment is it? The 24th or whatever that they use for the mental fitness of 25th Amendment. So they could put him in and then retire him with the 25th Amendment and slide Hillary in.
Yes.
Okay, that would work. But hey, Mike, I'm expecting food prices to go through the roof here very soon.
Oh yeah. They're creating an artificial shortage down here.
Yep, exactly. Okay, Mike, thank you.
All right, we got to take a break for station identification. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are now open, 800-313-9443. Let's talk about the food chain here, because something very weird is going on right now. We are hearing all these stories of cars queued up for like miles in front of food banks. You know, Americans who've had their jobs at least temporarily suspended because of the coronavirus shutdown, they're going hungry and they're desperate for food. At the same time, we're hearing all these stories about farms that are euthanizing piglets, gassing chickens, plowing perfectly good vegetables under the soil there. And nobody has a really convincing explanation for why we are not able to mobilize, for example, you know, the Army with their trucks to get some of these food items to the people who need them. And I'm not buying this idea that the supply chain is just so rigidly constructed that there couldn't be a chain, because they're always reconstructing the food supply chain. Have you ever noticed that when there's a surplus of one particular vegetable, all of a sudden it's in all the stores, and you're seeing TV shows and everything talking about how great it is to eat that one vegetable, like whether it's broccoli or whatever. I'm not buying that idea that our supply chain is so rigid that it can't adapt to this new reality of taking these, you know, pigs and cows and chickens and ducks and corn and beets and whatever to the people who need it right now. I mean, this is a country that supposedly can mobilize an army anywhere on the face of planet Earth, and we can't do it here. And it looks to me, and I'm in agreement with our last caller there, a shortage is being deliberately created to drive prices up. That is really going to hurt a lot of people who are already hurting. It's almost like somebody wants to start a revolution here so it can be put down militarily and we can live the rest of our lives in the Hunger Games. There's a story here that came out of one of our members saying that the U.S. food supply chains may be in jeopardy if the economy remains closed for too long. Well, the trucks are still out there. Trump is going to activate, in fact, he already has. He signed an executive order that workers at meat processing plants have to go back to work. Now, they want protection. The companies they work for are not providing it. In fact, as that other caller mentioned, some of these companies may be forcing their employees to sign waivers saying, if you get coronavirus while working here, you know, we're not going to cover it. You don't get any sick days or benefits for that. And of course, how long can coronavirus live on the surface of a raw steak? Is one example here. And apparently Smithfield Foods has shuttered its 5th plant. There are now fears of meat shortages. And again, it says in this story, farmers, they have to euthanize tens of thousands of pigs. Why? Why not send them to other slaughterhouses? We should have the resources to be able to deal with this. Send over some Army guys with a bunch of Army trucks, pick up a bunch of pigs and take them over to a different slaughterhouse and get them sliced up into the food banks. Now, the food banks are not asking for charity. Well, they're asking for donations, but the food banks are actually buying the food they hand out. So it's not like this is a total giveaway. So something is going on. And I think it's a deliberate attempt to create a shortage in order to jack food prices up. And that, like that last caller said, they're going to go right through the roof. Okay, a lot of companies are taking advantage of the stimulus program. They're taking the opportunity either for direct bailouts or low interest loans. 13 public companies agree to return $170 million in small business stimulus. Others are keeping it. Now, the original Paycheck Protection Program ran out of funds, and the current one, the reincarnation, may not last out the week. And apparently, with the new version, they're saying that keeping your employees is no longer a requirement. So it's just a cash handout. Now, Howard Stern, who basically started the whole shock jock genre, is out there saying that Trump supporters should drink Clorox and drop dead. And this is another example of media distorting what was actually said. Because what Trump actually said was, is there a way to have a disinfectant in the human body? Yeah, it's called penicillin or any antibiotic. That's what it does. It disinfects. Instead, you had all these liberals out there screaming, oh, he's telling people to snort Clorox or Saniflush or something. All right, getting on back to Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Story coming out of Russia today. Apparently during their joint town hall, during which at one point Biden looked like he fell asleep, Biden said, I'm with her, referring to Hillary Clinton. Now, since he's the one who's running for president, he should have said, she's with me, or Hillary should have said, I'm with him. But instead, Biden said, I'm with her, which implies a subordinate role in whatever process is going on. But Russia today is also of the opinion that we're looking at the possibility of a vice presidential nomination and a 2016 rematch, Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. Now, Hillary admittedly brings a lot to the table. She's got the women's vote. She's got the gay vote. She's got the abortion vote. Got the revenge vote. Remember all of her cult-like following after the 2016 election? They just went crazy, and they were trashing towns all over America, including towns that had voted for Hillary. So she is a powerhouse, and she could be the deciding factor in Biden getting the election. And Biden may have just decided that, you know, he's aware of his mental deterioration, but he's going to stick this out and try and go down in the history books as one of the American presidents. He'll serve for maybe 4 or 5 months. Then he'll step down and Hillary gets to be president. Boy, talk about an absolute disaster. So anyway, this other article, and this came out of rightjournalism.com, was commenting on it looked like Joe Biden fell asleep during the video town hall with Hillary Clinton. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he was having his eyes down and thinking about how he's just put a target on his own back. So let's get over and talk about Tara Reade. And she is torturing Hillary Clinton for endorsing Biden and says she's enabling a sexual predator. Well, that's what Hillary Clinton has done ever since she got together with Bill Clinton. I mean, the number of women accusing Bill Clinton of outright sexual harassment, sexual assault, rape even, is legion compared to Joe Biden. I think his total accusers now number 8. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because the University of Delaware has been entrusted with Joe Biden's Senate records, and they are keeping them secret, and they're not even saying why they're keeping it secret. But Tara Reade is out there saying that in those Senate records is a complaint she filed regarding the sexual harassment, sexual assault, which apparently involves Biden reaching up under her skirt to fondle her. I guess that's about the most delicate way to put it. Anyway, so, and also, of course, her separation agreement. Now, if they get into those records and they're not there, well, that's another problem entirely. Almost makes Biden look more guilty. So, according to stationgossip.com, 8 women have accused Joe Biden of sexual misconduct, inappropriate touching. Now, in the case of Joe Biden, there's a lot of that that's on video. Just go ahead and do a search for Creepy Joe, because he's got this long habit of inappropriately touching girls of all ages, and it doesn't look like he's out for sexual gratification, I'll grant you, but it is just a little creepy, and you can see the girls kind of like, wanting to get away from him. Over at Politico, they ran an article claiming that Trump owes the Bank of China millions of dollars, and it turns out that was fake news. They published a lengthy retraction 7 minutes before midnight on Monday. Okay. Sorry, there's something going on in the background I was distracted by. All right, let's get over to General Flynn. And apparently on Monday, May 4th, Judge Sullivan, who accused General Flynn of treason, is going to file his response to Flynn's motion to dismiss. Now, this is starting to turn into a real big stink because it turned out the FBI was withholding exculpatory information. And a judge just finally forced them to turn that all over. It's beginning to look more and more like Flynn was the victim of a frame-up by the Obama White House and the FBI. And that he never went to trial. He was basically browbeaten into a guilty verdict. They basically said, look, you plead guilty to this, you'll get a small jail sentence. If you fight this in court, we will win, we will convict you, and we'll send you away for a very, very long time. Well, at this point, it's beginning to look like the charges may actually get dropped. Tucker Carlson was out there saying that if the charges get dropped, Flynn should be exonerated. Well, if the charges are dropped, he automatically is exonerated. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens, absolutely. Okay, so newly declassified transcript of George Papadopoulos, an FBI spy, shows there was zero evidence Trump campaign coordinated with Russia. Meanwhile, of course, you had Christopher Steele was dealing with the Russians and the Hillary Clinton campaign. But nobody ever investigated that. Nobody ever looked at that. Because Hillary's an insider. Everybody in Washington, D.C. loves Hillary Clinton, or they're terrified of her. Apparently, Christopher Steele, who wrote the dossier, had previously undisclosed meetings with Perkins Coie lawyers and Hillary Clinton's campaign. All right, turning to the international news, riots are breaking out in Lebanon as the country falls into bankruptcy and once again is being bombed by Israel. Speaking of Israel, they may ask for double its usual $3.8 billion from the U.S. this year and ask for it even earlier. And this article, which came out in IsraelPalestineNews.org, is saying, considering 26 million Americans out of jobs, U.S. companies closing to coronavirus, maybe it's time to keep our money home, and I most certainly would agree. For one thing, Israel doesn't need the money. They like money. Not much about money not to like. I used to have a lot more than I have now, thanks to my first wife. Maybe that's why I'm not out there trying to earn more of it the way Paul in New Jersey says I should. But Israel has violated virtually every restraint placed on the money given to it by the U.S. government. They buy offensive weapons. They're using it against the Palestinians. And again, they have a very high standard of living over there. So apparently there was a bomb-laden tanker truck detonated in northern Syria, killing at least 34 and sparking a huge blaze, which actually drove oil prices back up. And they did have a good day on the stock market. The Dow closed at 500 up. All right, the Chinese have warned the U.S. to halt military operations in the South China Sea, and this has to do with the U.S. destroyer Barry, which was conducting what the U.S. calls a freedom in navigation exercise. China says they trespassed into China's territorial waters off the Xisha Islands on Tuesday. And they identified the ship, warned it, and expelled it. And the fact that the ship went where it was told to go suggests that maybe the captain knew they'd gone over the line. Meanwhile, of course, the U.S. is coming up on the end of the START Treaty, which expires in February of next year. And unless they can come to an agreement, we're looking at yet another arms race with the Russians. Oh, how much money will be made by the defense contractors? Those gosh darn Russian, Chinese, Iranian, whoever, we've got to build bigger bombs and longer missiles to keep them from attacking us. You know who was the last military force to attack the continental United States of America? The Army of the Confederacy. They're not out there. They're not going to attack the United States of America. Look at the condition we're in right now. Who would want this country? Look at all the money my parents' generation spent for the Cold War against the commies. All that money spent. Get on Google Earth, go out to the Arizona desert, take a look at what's called the Boneyard, and just imagine what all of that hardware, most of which was never actually used in a war, cost. Look at all the stories about chronic waste in the military, like the F-35, the F-22, the Zumwalt destroyer, which I think was finally accepted by the Navy 2 years after commissioning because of all the problems with it. The Independence-class littoral combat ships, the Freedom-class littoral combat ships. We had that story a while back where 2 ships were just brand new, delivered to the Navy. They immediately went to the scrapyard. They were that messed up. Now, everybody's wondering what's happened to Kim Jong-un. There are 3 prevailing theories. One is he's dead and playing canasta with Federico Franco somewhere. The second theory, the one that we've seen in the media, is that there was a botched heart operation where the doctor was apparently so nervous and shaking that he did something wrong, probably dropped a stent into an artery or something that it wasn't supposed to go into, and that Kim Jong-un is brain dead. And the third story that's floating around is that Kim Jong-un was personally witnessing a missile test that failed and was injured in it, which is not without precedent. That's how Korolev bought it. Went out there to watch the rocket take off, and the rocket exploded. Korolev was the Soviet Union's equivalent of Wernher von Braun. South Korea is saying they're detecting an unusual increase in North Korean air and artillery operations. And they're saying it could mean there's going to be another missile test, or it could be related to Kim Jong-un's vanishing. But apparently his sister, who is supposed to step into the leadership of that country if something happens to Kim Jong-un, at least until his children come of age, apparently has already been acquiring power within North Korea over the last few months. So maybe whatever happened to Kim Jong-un was something that arrived with a little bit of foreknowledge. And so the sister would rule North Korea until Kim Jong-un's children came of age and could basically accept their inheritance. That's what's going on. Joe Biden is out there saying we need more economic intercourse with the world. I leave it to your imagination what exactly it is he means with that. Right now, I think because of the coronavirus, people are looking at the whole idea of globalism and realizing, you know, there are some downsides here. They're not doing more of your own manufacturing, of being totally dependent on the rest of the planet, because if something happens on the rest of the planet, it comes home to you. If China has a cold, America sneezes. Boeing has burned through a record $4.7 billion with a B dollars in cash. Revenue has crashed 26%. They're getting ready to fire 10% of the workers. I really hate to see this happen. Boeing is an iconic American company. And, you know, growing up, I went through a phase of building model airplanes, and I built a lot of Boeing airplanes, and it was a name, the Boeing. Anyway, we got to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in New York.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones here to Dustin in New Jersey. Hello, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Mike, Indiana sucks. Okay, people get mad.
All right,
that,
well, thank you for
Mike,
calling.
I mean, Mike, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kentucky, California, New York, New Jersey, Florida sucks. They all suck. Well, what's going on here for the last 2 days? My God, I mean, red states, blue states, you know, you people are all on the USA Titanic, okay? Red
Yes.
seats and blue seats, you know? We're all sharing the same seats on the Titanic.
Yes.
You do know that, right? I mean,
Yes.
my God, what's going on here? Mike, it's just like the hatred, this whole, you know what it is, Mike? It's like a divide and conquer going on. It's just like, I mean, I don't know if there's...
It's political campaigning, and because they don't have anything positive to campaign with, it's easier to go negative. If you chart out how campaigns are run, they'll all start out with positive campaigns. This guy did this guy did this. When that starts to wear off, then the campaigns swing negative. And that's where we are, not just with the presidential campaigns or the congressional campaigns, but the overall attitude of the country as a whole. You know, it's easy to go negative. You know, this state sucks. The blue states suck.
Mike,
the
I
red
suck.
states suck.
Mike, I suck. You suck. We all suck. We're all suckers. How about that at this point,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
are we all
are.
suckers?
I agree
But I
with you
mean-
on that.
Mike, I got to ask one real quick question to Mark from North Carolina. How many acres do you got? Because I looked at his videos, and he's got some beautiful landscape over there. Having said that, New Jersey's not a dump. I mean, there's areas where you don't want to go in, like the city areas. I mean, but it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's pretty clean over here. New York's kind of clean too. I mean, it's just not as bad as people claim. We all have our great places, and we all got our worst places. There's nothing 100% perfect, right?
Correct.
But I mean, just the people calling in here. My God, man, relax. You know, listen. Aren't we all Rivero's Rangers? But it
Yeah.
seems like we're all Rivero's Rangers are killing each other. I was like, what the hell's going on the last couple of days? You know, and then that caller from North California might get a new time slot. I'm telling you, all the idiots like me and Tom and Mark and all these other people calling, they're just not doing it for you, man. You gotta, not even you. You know, like Mark said, your house. You know, that guy is a troll, man. Go read a book, dude. Go learn something about the real world. You know, that's all I got. I got to say about that. But Mike, I don't know if you heard this. I'm going to switch gears real quick about Germany. They unlocked and now they're relocked. Did you hear about that?
I heard about that.
Now, do you know why? I mean, I didn't read really into that. I didn't hear anything about into that story. What's
Well,
happened over there?
The official story is that there was a sudden jump in coronavirus infections. I suspect it had more to do with politics.
A lot of politics going on here, man. Like if you speak out
yeah.
against Trump or Biden, I like neither. You know me. I'm an equal opportunity offender.
Yes.
You know. And,
Same here.
And Mike, I just want to tell you and your wife when you go to the store, I don't care if anybody's not wearing their mask, to keep wearing your mask, because I don't know what's going on. You know, you don't know what's going on. None of us know really what's going on, so I'd rather play it safe than loose, you know, and I want everybody, Mark, Tom, Joe from Texas now, that's where he's at, right? At the meantime, everybody to be safe, even people who hate some of us. I don't know if they hate me. Mike, I mean, I get hate, but I figured there's some people that actually were looking for me to call back in. I remember, yesterday, because I listened to the show to learn what people are saying, somebody called in actually accusing me of taking money from the pharma companies.
Oh, I get that all the time. I'm accused of taking money from big oil and taking money from Putin and taking money from whoever. Well, I got to tell you, those checks are lost in the mail, obviously, because I haven't gotten one.
Well, that's why I couldn't call in, actually, Mike, because I was, after I left Langley, I couldn't make it to the Pharma Incorporated in time. Oh, by the way, Putin, you suck too, okay? Xi Jinping, you suck. We all suck, okay?
Yes.
Mike, have a good night. You stay safe.
All right, thanks an awful lot here, and we're close enough to the commercial break. I'm going to leave these other callers until after we get on back. The Bank of Japan is set for unlimited money printing. What could possibly go wrong? And believe it or not, they are still arguing over whether Donald Trump's signature would be on the stimulus checks. And Chuck Schumer is pushing a bill that will block the president of the United States of America from having his name on the stimulus checks. I mean, this borders on the childish. Okay? I mean, who really cares? Well, I understand from the Democrats' point of view, they don't want Trump's name linked to the stimulus. They want people to look at the stimulus checks and think, oh, Democrats did this. But I mean, it really is bordering on the childish. And I don't think these politicians are going to come out of this coronavirus mess looking and smelling as great as they do. We got to take a break for commercials, back for more phone calls after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, blocked sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones to Jake in Chicago. Hello, Jake. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
You know, I find it extremely difficult hearing the same callers to the show every day for years that never mentioned that Trump's grown children, all of them, even the daughter he had with Marla Maples, who is a Kabbalah following woman, are either married or engaged to Jews. This is of no importance on your show. I find this seriously suspicious. And
well, we're concerned about Jared
I really
Kushner.
feel sorry
obviously.
for your callers because, you know, there was a day where you questioned your government, but yet you got callers from New Jersey and Florida and all these little chokeholds there that are calling in that, oh, we shouldn't question our president. You know, we shouldn't be suspicious of any government people, especially their the people their children and maybe even they are married to. You know, why
Dan?
isn't that discussed?
Dan?
Why isn't that discussed?
Dan, I take it you don't listen to this show all that much from what you just
You
said.
know what? I did listen to it even during the election, and it was never mentioned. And you know what? I called up to other shows on RBM, and I was cut off for saying it. Now, I want you all to just look into yourself and look at a family that marries nothing but Jews. You know, I'm
Dan?
sorry I have to say that. I really
Dan?
am, because I know you're a Jew. But I'm sorry I have to say that. But this is the truth.
Dan?
And if you
Are
want to
you-
sell your soul
Dan?
to get on a TV or
Dan?
a radio show,
Whoa, Dan.
go right
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Jake. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong name on the thing. Are you aware that my first wife was Jewish? Not that big a deal. She didn't
You know
convert
what?
me. You know, they
You know
didn't
what?
get
I
near
don't even know
Moby with
what
that knife.
is. Why don't you explain to us what Jewish is? Is Jewish a religion? Is it? You don't even believe that. You yourself don't even believe there was ever Israelites or Judah. So how the hell can she be Jewish? You know, in your perspective.
No, religion, I'm sorry. To me, Jewishness is a religion, but it gets co-opted. You know, they're trying to claim there's a Jewish race, but everybody who was Jewish was converted from other races. My family tree
Okay,
goes
so we
back to
have
the
it from you
Sephardics.
that, you know, your professional standpoint is that Jewish now is a religion. So we cannot think of it as a mixed up conundrum, that it can be a race, that it can be this, it can be the House of Judah, it can be an Ashkenazi Jew, it can be a Sephardic Jew, it can be an Iranian Jew, it can be a mountain Jew from God knows where. You know, it's bullshit. And that's all I have to say. And your callers are fake as hell.
All right. Well, thank you for the phone call. And we're going to switch over to Dan in Texas. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, I think you got Pat. Hello?
I've got Pat
You
in
there?
Fort Worth. Okay.
Yes.
That darned hamster
Okay.
behind the control panel. What can I tell you? Okay, Pat, what's on your mind?
Oh, I think people need to do something right now because Nancy Pelosi saying that we got to let the prisoners out of jail because the Bible says that you can't visit, you're supposed to visit them. And she didn't give a rat's about the people dying in nursing homes because we couldn't get in and do a thing about it. She didn't care about people.
Meanwhile,
and right
people who
now,
break social distancing are being put in those same jails.
I don't, okay, great. All right, that's my point. One of them. And the other one is Rep. Jordan has come out today and said, made a speech on Fox on why we need to, go back to work. We hire them to be in Washington to work, but they don't care about us out here that they're supposed to be doing work for. They care about who's ever running the White House if they're mopping the floor or something. Can't they just put on gloves and a mask? And why do they have to be so messy up there that they care more about menial cowards than they do about everybody out here dying in nursing homes because we can't even get in there? But that's not the point. The point is, if he said, he made a good point, all right? He said, look, everybody wants to worry about money. Well, why don't we worry about the fact that the Democrats are trying to take the Congress, trying to take the Senate because they want to run the country. Okay, totally run the country. But, you know, they spend the money in the House, but the Senate decides whether or not they'll pass it, okay? You can say Trump ain't president, he can't do anything. Whatever you want to say, it's got to get past the Senate. And I think we better right now, all the people in the Senate who are getting opposition, you know, from the Democrats who want to take the party, this, that, and other, you know, whatever they can do. And we need to have people call their Democrat, their senators and tell them that we're watching what you're doing, wasting our money by not working when you could be up there working, actually doing something instead of sitting home writing bills that you could throw at everybody and confuse the whole thing, because the money is very important. There are people out there wanting to take the whole Constitution over a balanced budget amendment. We've almost lost the Constitution several times over a balanced budget amendment. And it's still out there, and the same people still trying to do it one way or the other. And I think we ought to call our senators right now and tell them, you better get out there and start talking about the stupid people, Democrats who won't go to the work in the House. They won't work. and even earn a little bit, earn the money they make, brag about all their riches and how much their ice cream, their expensive ice cream and their expensive refrigerator, trying to push sugar on people. But sugar is going to ruin your immunity, help you get commodious. Are they on your side?
Well, please focus on those
there?
senators who are, yeah, I'm still here. Please focus on those senators who are up for re-election this November. They're the ones who are going to be listening to
Yeah.
the people. Everybody else is going to be listening to the moneyed interests.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones who have Democrats like Beto running against them. His first speech is, "It doesn't matter who you love." No, it does. It matters about the money out here right now. I'm
Yes.
not, I'm poor like you, as you say. But the fact is, they're going to get the money from us somehow or other. If they have to take our property when they kill us in the old folks' home, they're going to get their money to waste. Those Democrats will do it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I'm hearing all these Democrats now talk about guaranteed basic income or universal basic income or
Ugh.
whatever they want to call it this week. Where are they going to get all that money from? I mean, they're
Really?
probably thinking they're going to tax the rich, but the rich will never allow that to happen. So they can't make it work. And ultimately, if you go back to the Soviet
They
Union,
can tax
ultimately it
every
didn't
rich
work.
person we have into poverty right now, and it wouldn't pay the bills they're wasting
No,
money
it
on.
would. No, it wouldn't. The debt is completely unpayable. And I
Okay.
think the
All right.
sooner the
Thank you.
whole system comes crashing down, the better. All right. Well, thank you for the phone call, Pat. We're going to switch over to Steve in West Virginia. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Listen, I wanted to know, have you seen, there's a video out there, the guy's name is Adam that's got it on his site. I think it's No More News. But anyways, it depicts a scene where there's a nurse that jumps out of a car, and it's by where the Trump protesters are protesting about opening up, all the businesses and stuff, and they got a thing where this, like, a guy in scrubs jumps out of a car and starts like a counter protest. But what it is it's as soon as he jumps out of the car, it's set up to where a bunch of the media comes over with cameras and starts filming him. It's a total crisis actor thing.
Yes.
And they're doing it all over the place. And I mean, that just tells you this thing is fake, And I got to say, I agree with Dustin on a lot of things about Trump, with the Middle East, him not getting out of these wars and Russia and stuff. I mean, I voted for Trump because I want to see a good relationship with Russia. Russia is not the enemy.
No.
Russia helped us in the Revolutionary War, but when Dustin says stuff like going to Walmart and don't chit chat with anybody. I mean, hell, I've met beautiful women in grocery stores talking to them. I'm not going to sit and not talk to anybody. I mean,
I've met my wife at a Jack in the Box.
Well, there you go. See, now, who's going to want to be, have an isolated view of things and, walk in and get your stuff. I mean, half the fun is going in there and maybe run into somebody you went to high school with or whatever, staying, not talking to nobody and just, running in and running out. That's what I call existing. That's not living.
Yes.
And we were put here to live. I mean, we were put here to live, not hide in a house somewhere and play video games. And like I said, I don't have anything against Dustin. I like a lot of his opinions. And I know some of your other callers disagree with him on everything, but I actually agree with Dustin on all the stuff he says about Trump, about how he still has us in these wars. I mean, all he has to do is pull us out. Who cares what the senators say?
Well, he's pulling us out of Afghanistan.
I'll believe it when I see it. He's been saying that forever. I want to see him pull. Why are we in Syria? That's the biggest thing, Mike. We don't belong in Syria. It can't. I mean, Mike, Germany wants us off. Germany doesn't want to use the dollar anymore. What are they going to do about Germany? You said the other day that they don't, they want to keep us on Syria, take their oil for the dollar. But that doesn't even make any sense, though. I mean, because countries like Germany don't want the dollar as a reserve currency anymore. and Russia and China. I mean, they can't beat them. There's nothing they can do to beat them and gain control like they once had it. It's going to go down.
Yes.
There's just no way. Your callers have got to realize that the United States cannot be the dominant over everybody. It's just not going to happen. And I don't know, but anyways, I just wanted to put that out. I mean, using crisis actors to stage protests and stuff. That just tells you everything you need to know.
Yes. And
so that's it, Mike.
The United States is a failing empire. All right. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to yet another Steve, this one in Riverside. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. I guess you got the right Steve this time. Mike, let's see, where do I start off? I think anybody who thinks that this flu came from bats is a little batty. It's been too quick to roll out. It's been too well staged. It follows that 2001 thing they did. And it does exactly what the globalists want. Now, let me say, if they ever were to release a very deadly virus, it could turn around and kill them, their families, their mistresses, their, bodyguards, everybody. It could get out of hand very quickly. But by just releasing a phony virus, it's a little wimpy thing, and then calling it, a deadly virus through the endless amount of fear porn on the media, the phony tests, the phony autopsies, they've created the whole thing. And this is what they can then do. And I'm just going to list three that I think they can do very easily. They can, one, the Constitution goes out the window by some medical officer. He can confine you to your home, stop you from traveling, you can congregate even at your church. So forget about the Constitution. It's now been overruled by some medical officer. Number two, I'd have to say, is the problem, reaction, solution, is there's going to be a universal vaccination. And as soon as they work on it, or at least say they've got it, it will probably end up being mandatory, or as like in Argentina, you have to have a vaccination card to fly on an airplane, to get a driver's license, or to get a passport. Or maybe down in Mexico, you have to show your vaccination card to get your families fed through those government stores. I can see all the people on food stamps doing that. And third, I think, is our economy. I'm not too worried about the Dow Industrial, because I'm sure they can pump that back up whenever they want to. But the thousands of small businesses that have gone down the tubes because of this, and that I think 23 million people I've heard are now unemployed. The banksters will come in and buy this all up for nothing. The unemployed, most of them some of them will find jobs with the government or with a mega corporation, and the rest will become the bread and circuses thing, that we put on a threepence. And this will benefit the new world order that they are trying to create. And just one thing, to add something about Dustin, I can't figure out whether he's a shill or just rather naive, but he reminds me of Radar O'Reilly,
oh, yes.
the choppers, And that's probably all I have for you, Mike. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good day to you, Michael. Aloha. Yeah, Michael, let's get something straight on about yesterday. First off, I want you to notice the great state of Florida makes Gatorade. We invented Gatorade. Your great state, you know what you're famous for in your great state? So you're called almost. The great state of Indiana is great for gas pumps. That's where the first original gas pump came out of. Indiana. And there's a lot of other southern states that had a lot of great stuff. Like I told you, Eli Whitney and the cotton gin was made in Georgia. There's so many other, a lot of the great weapons that came out of the Civil War came out of the South. Did you know that? The submarine, Michael?
Yeah, the Hunley.
Yeah, the Hunley, the submarine. So, this guy talking about, Carrier. Well, let me tell you about Carrier. The Egyptians had air conditioners in their palaces 3,000 years ago when they brought waterfalls into their palaces. Okay? Yeah, there's electric modern AC. Yeah, no problem. Carrier did a wonderful thing. But you know what? There were still people living in Florida. Okay? Yeah, we had fans. They had electric fans. Okay? And up till like 1960, they didn't have air conditioning in this state. Okay? So there were still plenty of people living here to your one caller. And also, Michael, the reason I called you is about what I saw on the news today. And I heard on the radio, and I saw it, I believe it was on Matt Drudge, it was one of those networks. I was scanning real quickly. You realize that, Michael, in New York, there's 39,000 people per square mile in New York,
Yes.
New Jersey.
Yes, there is. Tom, I got to let you go. I'm sorry. We're running out of time, Tom. We got to take a break for commercials. Back with more phone calls.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late-night premiere show, The Red Pill Hardcore, is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners, so that you can get involved in the activism. Please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
Welcome back to our show here. Last segment of our program today. We've got two callers waiting on the line, both named Dan. So we're going to start with Dan in Washington State. Hello, Dan. What's on your mind today?
Hey, thanks for taking the call. I'll hurry up. Just real quick with Tom and Paul, I think, from New Jersey. Just as Jim Morrison said, the West is the best. So, you know, these guys want to get in their north-south thing. Remember, people out west care less. We're like, what's the Civil War? But and then your other caller about meeting women at the store, just don't do what I did and meet them at the Goodwill. You run into some problems there. But
okay.
But actually, on a serious note, though, the caller about the not talking about the Jewish part of Trump's family. I don't think he listens to this network very much. I think John Stadtmiller read the article. It was a Noontide Press. What was it? Maxwell, the Mossad. I forgot the actual name of the article, but it went from Meyer Lansky all the way up to the Kushner family, you know, about this mafia. But I think, look, I agree with him to the point. I think he's being kind of rude, but, you know, as far as Kushner, he does have a point, because we have the Kushner version of NAFTA.
Yes.
We have the Kushner Middle East peace plan. You know, Kushner apparently is heading up all this economic, you know, coronavirus stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I'm not voting for Trump because of Kushner. I don't, you know, and we need to look into him having that building on 666. What was it? 666 Fifth Avenue. You know, that's pretty weird. And that, as far as I can tell, that's real news, right? That's not fake news. His building.
I would have to double check on that one, but frankly, I'm not the sort of person to get excited about 666 unless I'm on the system and setting file protections.
Yeah. It's but if it's true, I think, you know, we need to. I think that he thinks he's the Antichrist is my thing, but I don't know.
Well,
I don't think he's that cool though.
Dan, I hate to cut you off, but I want to take one more phone call before the end of the show. Dan in Texas, I know you've been holding for a while. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, one thing I don't understand, I was reading an article yesterday regarding the lady that was arrested in Raleigh, North Carolina 2 weeks ago yesterday during the protest there.
Yes.
And Christy Gronk of the ACLU of North Carolina was quoted in that article saying that, yes, if there's an emergency and yada, they can suspend your First Amendment rights. And then the issue is whether or not they're abusing their power, to which I disagree.
They definitely are.
Well, I think they should contest the very issue. Is there an emergency? They're just conceding that there's an emergency that justifies the declaration of the governor. And I wouldn't concede that. I think if you concede that, you've just thrown in the towel.
You're absolutely right about that. If you let the other side set the agenda, you've already lost the argument. Dan, I'm going to have to let you go. We're at the end of our program.
Thank you, Matt.
Please stay tuned for John Stadtmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of RBN. Please spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. We need your help to stay on the air. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.